Hi, and welcome back to the second hour of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Number to call if you'd like to join the program, join the conversation, is 888-589-8840. Our last caller from Lafayette, Indiana, I had to drop. I think what he was asking about was, I had talked about this barber in Greeley, Colorado that does not want to cut the hair of potheads because they bring into the shop the aroma of pot. Moms come in with their young children. They don't want their kids around that aroma. So he's heard from moms, look, I'm not bringing my kid back there if you cut the hair of people that are smoking pot because I don't want my kids around it. So the barber said, look, I'm not cutting the hair of any dopers anymore. That's a done deal. And apparently the pot smokers are okay with it. There's a quote from a pot smoker, hey, it's his business. He can run it the way he wants. And my point was, if you want to get around that, then all you got to do is pretend that you're a gay pot smoker and you're going to a wedding. And you go in and then the guy can't turn you down because he could get hauled off to jail. He'd be in violation of state law, discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. You got him dead to rights. So talking about that baker in Oregon who simply politely declined to bake a cake for a gay wedding, and now he's in all kinds of legal trouble, could even be in criminal trouble. He's in danger of actually being sent to prison for taking a stand for natural marriage. So I was just kind of having a little bit of fun with that idea. Let's grab one more call on the subject from Pat in Fredericktown, Ohio. Pat, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian. Pleasure to talk with you today. You do a fantastic job. I listen to your radio station probably too much.
That's not possible. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to add something to the pot thing. Now I don't have the Bible in front of me, so I can't quote exactly what it says. But I think, isn't there a place in there that says where Jesus says that it's okay to drink wine but not to drunkenness?
Yeah, there's no prohibition in the Bible against drinking. The prohibition is against drunkenness. The prohibition is against getting high on anything other than the Holy Spirit. So drinking wine, that's not a sin in and of itself. Getting high on wine or high on beer or high on booze, that's wrong. That's a sin. That's drunkenness. Right. Drinking is not a sin, but drunkenness is, and it always is in every circumstance.
Well, when someone smokes marijuana, they get a much quicker, for a lack of a better way of putting it, inebriation than they do with alcohol.
Right.
So essentially, the Bible covers that because we're not supposed to be to the point where we're not in control of our own intellect.
That's correct. Yeah, and see, that's where I was quoting the verse in Ephesians 5:18 because I think this directly addresses that issue where Paul does not say don't drink wine. He says don't get drunk with wine because that is dissipation or debauchery, but instead keep on being filled with the Holy Spirit. So what we're to be, if we're going to get high on anything, it is to be the life of Christ in us through the Holy Spirit, not settle for some kind of artificial buzz that we get from booze or get from marijuana. And I've never smoked marijuana, so I cannot speak to this from my own personal experience, but my understanding from talking to people that do, I mean, the only reason you would ever want to smoke it is to get some kind of buzz out of it, get some kind of high, get some kind of boost out of the thing. That's the only, otherwise there'd be no reason to do it. So the very fact that you're even token up, you're already in violation of Ephesians 5:18 when you do that, and that's just not behavior that we ought to, as a culture, ought to endorse or promote. All right, does that help a little bit, Pat?
Exactly right. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. All right, Pat.
I just wanted to add that, and you have a great week.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. I found that article. It's on Salon.com that I was referring to in the last hour about President Obama being a cipher. It's a piece on Salon written by Thomas Frank, and most of it is an interview with a guy by the name of Adolph Reed Jr. And his point, it's kind of the direct opposite. I won't take to go through it with you because I don't think he's right. But the title of the piece is that we're all right-wingers now. And his point is that Fox News has basically controlling the landscape. Everybody's turned into a right-winger. The liberals are completely ineffective at arguing for socialism or Marxism or progressive views, and the GOP, money machine, and corporate Democrats have completely captured everything. So there's no progressive liberal movement to speak of whatsoever. And again, I don't know that I agree with him. In fact, I don't agree with him on that, so I'm not going to take time to wade through the details. But this is about 7 pages in. It's a 13-page interview. Here's 7 pages into the interview, and they're talking about the shift in momentum on the marriage issue. And so he starts moving beyond that. He says, going the other direction now, this is the interview with Thomas Frank. The symbolism of this is all very interesting. In your Harper's article, you talk about Obama as a symbol that he is a cipher. And I think you're quoting somebody. And he says, yeah, I'm quoting this guy by the name of Matt Taibbi. He says, but I'll take it. I'll take credit for it because he has always been a cipher. You know that. Now, if you look up the word cipher in the dictionary, the basic meaning is it means to be a zero. It means to be a non-entity, to be a nothing. And the other meaning for cipher has the idea of being sort of a blank slate, and people can kind of turn you into whatever you want. You have no identity of your own. You are whatever people want you to be. You can pretend to be whatever people want you to pretend to be. So the interviewer is reacting to this arch liberal who's saying that Obama's a cipher. He's a zero. There's nothing there. He's whatever you want him to be, but there's no essence there. There's no core to him. And the interviewer says, but Obama's a highly intelligent man. You've met him. And the interviewee says, yes. So the interviewer, Thomas Frank, says maybe he's a cipher in the sense that he's a symbol, but he's not a cipher of a human. So what he's trying to say is he's trying to use the second definition of a cipher. This is somebody who symbolizes, is a picture of something larger than himself, and he's trying to bail this guy out of trouble. He says, look, there's no way he's a cipher of a human being. He's not a zero when it comes to being a human being. You surely cannot be saying that. And the guy disagrees with him. He says, I don't know. He says, I don't know that he's not a cipher of a human being. Look, I've taught a bunch of versions of him. This guy teaches in the college level, and he says, I've had a bunch of little Obamas in my classes. And the interviewer says, you mean you've had people like him as students? He says, yeah. So his cohort in the Ivy League. So these are all of the anointed, the ones that think that they're the smartest people in the room. His style, he says, there is a superficial polish, or there's a polish that may go down to the core. I don't know. It all seems surfacey to him, all varnish. A performance of judicious intellectuality, a capacity to show an ability to understand and empathize with multiple sides of an argument. Obama has this knack. In fact, Obama said that he has this knack for encouraging people to see a better world for themselves through him. Yeah, the interviewer says, like he's a blank slate. In a less charitable moment, you might say he's like a sociopath. Come on now. And he says, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's like one.